Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, and that bump-de-bump can only mean one thing. Scott Wilkinson, the Santa Claus of AV reporters. Ho, ho, ho. He's our home theater geek. You'll see him on twit.tv/HTG, our Home Theater Geeks podcast. I hate using the word podcast. I always have.
I know. Netcast.
Netcast. It seems demeaning because it sounds like it's some guy in his basement on an audio thing.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's a full video production. You're in a studio.
Yeah.
And,
it's a high production value.
Yeah. And you talk to amazing people.
Oh, I know. I love the guests I get, and we talk about all kinds of really cool stuff.
It's also he's also besides being a regular on this show and his podcast, he's editor-in-chief at the AVS Forum at avsforum.com. I was telling you, I had mentioned last week that my BBC Planet Earth 2 UHD DVD had come.
UHD Blu-ray, yeah.
Yeah, Blu-ray. And I do have a UHD Blu-ray player in my Xbox One S.
Correct.
So it's hard to explain to the family, no, we can't watch it in the living room. We have to watch it in my man cave. I don't want to go in your man cave, but that's where the 4K UHD TV is. You convinced me, and I am very happy that you did.
With HDR, with high dynamic range as well.
To buy the LG B6 from 2016. And you and Robert Heron of Heron Fidelity very kindly calibrated it for me, so I know I'm watching a great panel.
Yep.
In a darkened room, and on Blu-ray, UHD, HDR, OMG.
Add some more letters to that, will you?
So just as Planet Earth 1, which is 10 years ago, was the first really popular 1080p disc, really, I think, sold a lot of HD TVs. This should sell a lot of 4K TVs. If you see this in the proper viewing conditions, with surround sound, because Hans Zimmer's amazing soundtrack is... Oh,
he did the music? I didn't realize that.
And lots of like big boom boom kettle drums and oh my gosh.
Hans Zimmer's great. He's a master.
When the peregrine falcon swoops in on the pigeon, boom 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 boom. It's very dramatic.
Oh,
beautiful. OMG. I say again, beautiful.
I just got my copy yesterday.
Oh, good.
So I'm about to start watching.
It feels like you're looking through a window at these events, and of course they're shooting stuff so remarkable. You know, an island in Antarctica where chin-strap penguins, mate and rear their young, and such a dramatic story. They take turns, the mother and father, swimming 60 kilometers out to feed. Then they have to swim all the way back and then walk another 2 or 3 kilometers on these little bitty penguin legs.
Yeah, right.
And find their family and then feed the babies. Yeah. And then they take turns doing this every other day. It's just dramatic as heck and beautiful. And then you watch the third disc, which is how they made it, and you realize these people risked their lives to get to this island.
Yeah.
And it's on and on like that. I mean, the point of view stuff, they had... So they wanted to show how golden eagles, what it must look like for a golden eagle to soar in the mountaintops in the Alps, in the Swiss Alps. So they got a guy who's a
come over here for
paraglider, and they said, well, put this, and it wasn't a GoPro on his head, put this big camera on your head.
Oh, man.
But then, so they shoot it for a while, but they realize that in order to safely do this, because he's skimming the rocks, he has to look, right, back and forth. So the camera shot they're getting is like terrible.
Yeah.
So the next thing they try, I hope this isn't a spoiler. Well, it is a spoiler, but only for a behind-the-scenes disc of a TV show. But he tandems. He gets the professional paraglider attaches a cameraman to his front. The cameraman has never done this before.
Oh man!
And the cameraman is shooting. And it's amazing video because it really is. So now in 4K high dynamic range, you are seeing what a golden eagle would see as he soars through the Swiss Alps, close to the rocks, plummeting at 300 kilometers an hour to strike. I mean, it's incredible.
Wow,
incredible. So I highly recommend this, even in 1080p, and you can stream it. It's for sale. I saw it on Amazon and other places. You can stream it.
But man, oh man, if you can see it in high dynamic range, I'll bet you there are scenes in dark places.
Yes.
Caves or what have you.
Yes.
And unlike 1080p standard dynamic range, you can probably see a lot of detail in those dark caves, which you wouldn't be able to see in standard dynamic range. Man, I can't wait. It's and
awesome. One of
the
things I always notice with streaming video is when you do have a solid color, particularly solid blacks, you can see the banding from the compression.
Yes.
You don't get any of that on a Blu-ray UHD
I'm not at all surprised. I mean, it's still compressed.
Solid black.
It's still compressed, but it's compressed using the latest compression technology called HEVC, High Efficiency Video Codec, which does a much better job than what we've used before, which you can say about almost any technology, right? I mean, as we move forward, things get better.
Yeah.
And this is now the culmination of what the technology can do, at least for the home.
I tell you, I've seen a significant amount of HDR content. I've even bought a few HDR Blu-rays, but nothing as good as this. This is they shot it all on these red cameras.
Oh yeah, red digital cinema, wonderful cameras.
Yeah.
The Hobbit was shot on that. Yeah. House of Cards was shot on that. A lot of productions use the red digital camera to capture stuff, and that's certainly high dynamic range, at least 4K. The current red cameras are more than 4K, which is always a good idea to shoot at a higher resolution than you're going to end up with.
Interestingly, they also use for like camera traps and remote cameras, DSLRs.
Yes, we were just talking about that in the chat room, actually.
Yeah. Full frame sensors are 4K.
Yep.
And so they were able to shoot, I presume 4K 60 frames per second of video, and it gets some remarkable video of, tigers up close, just amazing stuff.
I wonder what the final frame rate is of the UHD Blu-ray. It probably says.
Could it be 60p?
It could.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's possible. The question is, when you see motion, when you see this point of view shot of from the cameraman with the
rock
paraglider,
solid. Yeah.
And he's diving and shooting around, and things are moving very fast. Does the image get blurry, or does it stay really sharp?
I would love to have you to sit next to you watching it, so you could say, because I don't have your eye, I don't know what to look for, but I'd love to hear what you think of this. And I'm going to have to watch it again and again. The only problem I have, maybe it's the incredible narration of David Attenborough, who is just wonderful in this. But for some reason, maybe it's just nature films, but I fall asleep every time.
Really?
So it takes me about twice as long, because halfway through, and then I have to watch the other half. But
you wake up and go, wait, where did I leave off?
It's for the first time really shown me why I bought a 4K HDR TV. It is, and I think it's probably also the content is suited to it. You don't really care so much of an action adventure movie or a period piece is 4K. In fact, you don't really want movies to be hyper real. You want documentaries to be hyper real, right?
And therein lies a great conversation. Do you want movies to look like movies have looked for the last 100 years?
Yeah.
Or do you want to push the technology forward? And there is some resistance to that.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, no, I don't want to shoot any more than 24 frames per second because that's what movies are supposed to be.
They also use drones, and they show at one point a drone, industrial drones, not the DJI Phantom drones that we're used to, but really large industrial drones, because they had to hold, these Sony
big, heavy camera,
cameras and the Canon cameras that they were using to shoot. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. Anyway, I just used your whole segment, so I'm sorry, but I had to tell you.
That's quite all right. Oh yeah, I have to now. I'm even more. Really
I want your technical eye, to tell us next week what I missed.
All right.
Scott Wilkinson, Home Theater Geeks, twit.tv/HTG. He's also at the avsforum.com and joins us every week. Thank you, Scott.
You bet.